Soul Sparks, where science meets soul and wellness gets real. I'm your host, Saima, and today we are joined by amazing Claire Martinsen, co of Bio Bloom Injectables, a powerhouse blending biotechnology, mental wellness, and functional longevity. From NADH plus B12 to mental clarity hacks, Claire is on a mission to cut through the noise and deliver wellness at the cellular level. So, if you are someone you love struggles with ADHD or low mental energy, this episode might just change your trajectory. So, Claire, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Warmly welcome, Claire. It's my pleasure to have you here. So, Claire, you have combined biology, public health, and entrepreneurship into this potent wellness journey, and that's so remarkable. So, I'm really curious to know that what made ADHD and mental clarity such a personal or professional focus for you?
Yeah, so I personally struggle with ADHD. And as you know, I am also of Asian descent. I am Chinese. And in our culture, we tend to not talk about mental illness or mental health situations as publicly as how it is in the Western culture. So I had an undiagnosed ADHD throughout my entire life. I struggled with it in college and I got misdiagnosed with depression because ADHD and depression presents very similarly. It wasn't until after my second baby that's when I truly found my outlet. I went to therapy and I was told by my therapist I should go do a computerized ADHD testing done to just to see like if I do have it or not. And voila, I have it. And
Mm.
through that, I started researching to see what type of medication or what kind of holistic ways are we able to actually battle and combat ADHD because it is actually very common. As of right now, studies are shown in the West. This was done 2 years ago. It's about one in every 10 child right now. So something is going on, right? Whether it's external environments or whether it's the society that we're currently living in. So I dug deeper and deeper and see like what's the true the deep meaning behind it. Why do we have it? And it's a disruption of our neurons. So, who's in charge of those neurons? It's your mitochondria, your powerhouse of the cell, because you don't have ATP production. Therefore, your neurons they're not releasing norepinephrine or dopamine. We're not getting that satisfaction, like almost that instant reward. So our brain's wired to look and seek that dopamine. What can I do to get myself that reward? And then I found NADH. That's when I dug into my biology background. I started asking my professors and I reached out and I just so happened to started talking to one of my aunt about it. And she said, you know what? I am actually currently working with a biotech company because that was 5 years ago. That was when NAD plus was first coming out. And I was like, okay, why are people making NAD plus, not NADH? And because NAD plus is the initial stepping stone to get your body to produce that NADH, which is the nucleotide that is a core nucleotide that is needed in order to actually run your mitochondria. So now we've found the core, right? So then I asked her, I was like, okay, can your factory just, the pharmaceutical company, just make NADH instead of NAD plus? So they dug and they were able to actually formulate NADH and they combined it with the essential vitamin B12 because B12 has been around for what, 15, 20 years and we all use it and we know it's a energy boost, but we kind of don't really know like anything else about it. And B12 actually helps your brain function better and it releases dopamine and norepinephrine for you and it maximizes the potentiality of your red blood cells from getting more oxygen. So once your blood cells gets the oxygen, then everything else in your body tends to just follow. So I did I used myself as a guinea pig. So because I have ADHD, supposedly NADH plus B12 should benefit me. And as I started using it, I paid very close attention to how my brain worked and how it functioned. With ADHDers, we get very frustrated very easily, and our moods tend to swing up and down drastically. And things seems to be overly exaggerated, and we tend to get overwhelmed a lot faster. And when I started doing my little guinea pig trial, I've noticed a clearer brain, just able to function straight forward with one task at a time, able to control my emotions, and I am able to balance what's important on a day-to-day basis, and I can actually pick up my mess now and try to somewhat organize it. So it's been a positive plus for
Mhm.
me, and it makes me feel great, especially through biology. We are able to find that holistic, not like a cure, but almost like a holistic way of to nurture and nutrient your brain and your powerhouse.
Mm. That's incredibly powerful, Claire. I mean, it's clear, that how deeply connected your work is to both your experience and your mission, I must say, and it really adds so much depth to the conversation around mental clarity and focus.
Yeah, so I've always been kind of floating around in life, and I've met a lot of people that meditate, that search deep within themselves to find who they truly are. And I've always been very confused about that aspect of your body and everything. And I didn't realize everything's connected in this universe. It's all connected with matter, and everything you do kind of brings back the things that you're seeking for if you have true intentions. I first started by grounding myself. This all happened this year. So I grounded myself. I actually found faith in Buddhism. I was raised a Catholic. I know there's, something above us that's watching us, because karma hits me very fast. When I think about it, I
Mhm.
thought I'll stub my toe. So obviously someone is saying, hey, knock it off, right? So I think for me, I found it in Buddha. It's not a religion, it's just a belief to just do good and do well and do better for other people. And through that, I found sound baths. So it's type of energy sourcing that you just lay there, you kind of close your eyes, you think about one thought, what you want to do, what you want to achieve, or how do you want to better yourself. And the therapist would just kind of play the instruments based off of the way how they feel, how the energy comes to. And every time I do a session just with pure energy, I always wake up more clear than ever. I feel it deep down in my energy that, it's moving, it's getting better and better and better. And I do believe, because I feel so grounded and so in tune with everything, that's how we were able to discover NADH and B12 to further benefit, the human beings.
Mm. Most of us are like popping pills for a quick fix, but your method suggests that we can optimize instead of chase symptoms.
Yeah, so that's another thing, right? The Western culture right now, when you go to the doctors, you say, "Hey, I'm feeling really tired. I don't really know what's going on. Can you do some kind of blood work testing done on me?" When we are doing those basic tests, the doctors are not trained to actually dive deeper into your internal health. Because in order to figure out whether or not you have mitochondrial dysfunction, it's difficult. You have to get the specific testings done for it. And the majority of the populations don't know that. So the answers that everyone typically get is, you're just aging. It's okay. Like it's, this and that. Here, let me prescribe something for you and see if it will help. that happened to my grandpa when he was getting older and aging, and he actually had mitochondrial dysfunction, which led to mutations in his blood cells. That was not discovered until when it was almost a little too late. So I really wanted to find a solution that is holistic, that is also natural, that is something that we can
Mm-hmm.
find in our body and in our plants to be able to, hey, let's fix the initial step. If we can fix that, or if we can supplement that, then the rest of your body and the rest of your functions will just flow with it. Because can you imagine you're building a house, right? If your structure is not strong enough, if the base of the foundation is not there, just because the outside of the house looks great, it's not going to survive the tornadoes, the floodings, the earthquakes. So if you can, from the beginning, build yourself up to be strong, to be solid, then you're going to be healthy from inside and out.
That makes so much sense, Claire. Now, for high performing women, juggling careers, mental load, and hormonal chaos, what's one actionable shift that supports clarity and energy without burnout?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. Because,
Mm-hmm.
um, well, for me, for instance, I work a lot. I have two businesses, and I'm trying to start up another one. I have two kids. They're
Oh.
all under 3. Um, I get stressed a lot. And then when you start to stress, that's when you start to kind of increase your fight or flight reaction in your body. And when that happens, your immune system starts to decrease, making it a lot easier for you to attract the diseases that's around you on the external surface, right? And that's how a lot of people get sick. That's how a lot of high performance entrepreneurs sometimes get a stroke, or a lot of the firefighters that I've noticed here in the States also get heart attacks while they're on the job, because everything they do is very, very stressful. For me, what I like to do when I feel overwhelmed is that I do step away. If you're in an office, if you have that 10-minute break, I step away, I go outside, I just kind of close my eyes and I face the sun, and I get myself a little bit of vitamin D. I make sure I drink a lot of water, and I always make sure that you have a healthy, balanced meal in the morning. And we don't really like to eat in the morning also, because, like when you're busy, you're just kind of on the go, go, go. But I found that if you just set yourself a 5-minute time in at the
Mm-hmm.
nighttime, put like milk and or water and oats and put it in the fridge, that's your meal in the morning. And oats are so good for you. It's full of fibers, antioxidants, it's good for lowering cholesterol, protecting your heart. So you, like, we can find these, substances that are good for you to counterbalance the stress. But of course, NADH and B12 is like just the icing on the cake.
It's really incredible that how often we overlook the simplest things, as you said that you know stepping outside, feeling the sun on our skin, or sipping water as luxuries, when in reality they are basic human needs, especially for like high performing women who are constantly in motion. The act of just pausing even for a moment can feel radical, and what you shared really like speaks to the power of presence and the idea that clarity and energy doesn't always come from pushing harder. That's such a gentle and accessible shift.
Yeah, so especially for us women, I do feel a higher pressure from the society, because our role since the beginning of time was to raise our family, stay home, and watch our children and grow up. We're considered the household, right? That's why there is a term stay home moms, housewives. But as we're turning into the new century, the new generations. You are seeing more women in the workforce. You're seeing higher positioned women, higher powered women, but we have way more hormones that's beneficial for us women, especially, that men tend to have less of. We are more emotional. You can't deny that. We are the most emotional human beings, but there are ways to combat that in the work environment. There are ways to alleviate your stress when you're in a men dominant world. One way of doing that is actually taking care of your own women health. The one specifically is your reproductive system. We all have it, right? We all get our menstrual cycles every single month.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us get it regularly, some of us get it irregularly, some of us get endometriosis, and some of us get just painful crampings. And what do? We go and we take our ibuprofen, we go take our Midol, we go take a pain pills to combat that feeling. But that's the wrong way of going about it, because we're putting in a foreign substance and we're blocking our neurons and we're blocking our nervous system sending out that energy, or sending out that signal telling you, hey, something's wrong. But instead of finding the core issue of that problem, we're kind of masking it. The more we mask it, the more our body is going to build a tolerance to that. So eventually, towards the end of your life, if something serious were to happen, that particular substance is not going to work. And this is something that I really wish a lot more of us women knew. We got to go to our OBGYN. We got to do the detailed testings. We got to get our MRI done. We got to find the things that's in our body that's triggering these responses that we're feeling, right? Like, for example, I always had really bad stomach pain and I never knew why. I just thought, it's just me. So one time when I was in school, it was back in 2012 when I was in college, I had a really bad episode that ended me in the ER. And through my ER visit, I found out that I had cysts inside my ovaries and didn't think nothing of it. I was young and whatever, it doesn't bother me. So fast forward to 2022 when I gave birth to my first baby, those fibroids, I had a cyst on my left and a fibroid on my right. One was 3 centimeter and the other one was 4. And then
Mm-hmm.
when I got pregnant the second time, it actually grew. It grew to be 10 centimeters. And that resulted in my son being born a little bit early at 32 weeks. He was healthy, thank goodness. And at that point in time, that was when I said, okay, enough is enough. I need to take care of me. I need to take care of the woman in me. So I almost lost everything. Like, I almost had to do a complete hysterectomy, but through changing everything that I've been putting in my body, finding the holistic ways of doing it, just soul search, like, ask your body, what do you need from me? What can I do to help you heal? I got really lucky and I was able to have my surgeon remove the entire thing and save my ovaries. And I do believe that if we catch on to these problems at an earlier stage, and if we start changing the things that we're doing to our body, that would be very beneficial for us, not just women, men included, the ones with low testosterones.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's noteworthy. That makes so much of sense, Claire. So, like, if you could reimagine mental wellness for the next decade, especially for ADHD and ADHD, so like, what would that look like to you?
I'm sorry, what was the beginning? I didn't hear you.
Mm-mm. If we could reimagine mental wellness for the next decade, especially for ADHD, so what would that look like to you?
I really, my goal is to be able to have the mental health department, instead of, like, oh, what do you got? Oh, okay, you're diagnosed with ADHD. Here's some Adderall, or here's some Vyvanse. Here's some drugs that you can take. Go try it out. Tell me how it feels. Instead of doing that, I would love for our psychologists and psychiatrists to actually give us tests, like test my brain, check to see what am I missing, how much dopamine am I missing from the normal, like how far away am I, like at what stage is my ADHD. There should be a defined definition of different types of ADHD, even though we have that textbook, right? But it doesn't truly make you fully understand what it really is, because everyone's different. We are all made of different bodies. Our genetics, our genomes are completely different from one another. The way how we interact, and the way how we react, and the way how our ADHDs are for each one of us are different. I'm a messy one, but I'm a messily organized one. But I can't finish anything. Like, I'll start a project, I can't finish it. If the psychiatrists are able to go into my brain, there are blood testings done specifically to test your norepinephrine, to do all these things, a CT scan, just to see what is going on with my hypothesis, and actually treating it as not just another illness, but treating it as a problem that our body is having, and finding the holistic way of curing it, or just giving us supplements that will help us, instead of having to rely heavily on that drug. Because without the drug, your body goes back to exactly how it was. It's almost as if we didn't do anything for it, except we kind of just numbed it. So if we can cure that from the core, and if we can supplement what our body actually is missing and need, I think it's going to be a eye opening for the mental world, for the mental health department. Because from all the studies that I've seen, that I've done on my own clients, I do notice that a lot of them come in with, an underlying of mental health illnesses, but everyone's a little bit quiet about it. We're secretive about what we're struggling in our brain, until when they see the results. Then they're more willing to open up and actually let you know, like, hey, that actually helped. Or, hey, now I'm able to get off of my ADHD medication because I fixed it, or I am supplementing it from the core.
Hmm. Absolutely. Like reimagining wellness in that way could make such a difference. And I appreciate the way you frame that. It's really inspiring, to hear such a thoughtful perspective on where we could go from here. And I'm sure that our listeners are going to take a lot from that. It's really an important and hopeful perspective, Claire.
Thank you. Yeah, I am loving what I'm doing right now. For the first time in my life, I feel like I've found my purpose in this, and I've found a healthy way and a organic way to help our bodies to just be better and function better.
Mhm. Absolutely. So, and lastly, what's one message you would like to leave to our listeners?
Listen to your body. Ask your body questions. Be in tune to it. Don't let the mass media overcast your own questions. Be curious. Always ask questions. Don't just believe what an authority figure has to tell you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That makes so much of sense, Claire. I mean, that was a simple message, but so deeply important. Like, I love that our bodies are always communicating with us, and we so often forget to really tune in. And that's a message we all need to hear more often. Thank you for putting it so clearly.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're warmly welcome. Claire Martinsen, you reminded us that wellness doesn't begin at the surface, it starts at the source. Whether you're navigating ADHD, burnout, or just craving better energy, remember, your brain is not broken, it's brilliant. and it might just need a new kind of fuel. So thanks to you. Thank you for joining us on Soul Sparks with Saima. Keep questioning, keep sparking, and keep